The last days of the Virgin Mary, also known as the Dormition or Assumption, are significant events in Christian tradition, particularly within the Catholic, Orthodox, and some Anglican and Lutheran branches. These traditions revolve around the end of Mary's earthly life and her transition to heaven. While there is no direct biblical account of these events, they have been developed through centuries of tradition, apocryphal writings, and theological reflection. The Dormition of the Virgin Mary. In Eastern Christian tradition, the Dormition, meaning falling asleep, of the Virgin Mary is the most significant event marking the end of her earthly life. According to this tradition, Mary's foreknowledge of her death. Mary was informed by an angel that her earthly life was coming to an end. This event filled her with joy as she would soon be reunited with her Son, Jesus Christ. Gathering of the Apostles. Miraculously, the apostles were brought together from their various mission fields to be with Mary during her final days. Some traditions hold that the apostles were transported by clouds to her side in Jerusalem. Mary's death. Surrounded by the apostles, Mary fell asleep in the Lord. Her death was peaceful and marked by deep spiritual serenity. Burial. The apostles buried Mary's body in a tomb at Gethsemane, near the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. Some traditions say that during her funeral, angels and heavenly voices were heard praising God. The Assumption. 3 days after her burial, the apostles discovered that Mary's tomb was empty. Tradition holds that her body was assumed into heaven, reuniting with her soul. This belief is celebrated as the Feast of the Assumption in the Catholic Church on August 15th. In Eastern Christianity, this event is celebrated as the Dormition of the Theotokos on the same date. The Assumption of the Virgin Mary. The Catholic Church officially teaches that the Virgin Mary was assumed body and soul into heaven at the end of her earthly life. This dogma was formally defined by Pope Pius XII in 1950 in the Apostolic Constitution Munificentissimus Deus. The Assumption highlights Mary's unique role in salvation history as the Mother of God and her special participation in her Son's resurrection and ascension. Mary's glorification. The Assumption is seen as a sign of Mary's glorification, as she was taken up into heaven without experiencing bodily corruption. Intercession for humanity. From her place in heaven, Mary is believed to intercede for the faithful, continuing her maternal care for the Church and all believers. Theological significance. The events surrounding the end of Mary's life emphasize several key theological themes. Mary as the new Eve. Just as Eve played a crucial role in humanity's fall, Mary, as the new Eve, plays a pivotal role in its redemption. Her Assumption is seen as a fulfillment of the promise of resurrection for all faithful Christians. The Church's hope. Mary's Assumption is a symbol of hope for all Christians, signifying the future resurrection and glorification of the faithful. Mary's role in salvation. The events of her Dormition and Assumption underline Mary's unique role in God's plan of salvation, highlighting her close relationship with her Son, Jesus Christ. Apocryphal accounts. Several apocryphal texts, such as the Transitus Mariae, Assumption of Mary writings, elaborate on the end of Mary's life. These texts, though not considered canonical, have influenced the development of traditions and liturgical practices surrounding Mary's Dormition and Assumption. Conclusion. The last days and deeds of the Virgin Mary, though not explicitly detailed in Scripture, are deeply rooted in Christian tradition and theology. The Dormition and Assumption of Mary remain profound mysteries of faith, celebrated and revered in Christian liturgy and devotion, highlighting her unique role in salvation history and offering hope for the faithful.